Friends Inside. Today we'll be talking to a man of all seasons. Yes, you've heard that used many times before, but certainly we're talking about the politician Pearnel Charles, Speaker of the House, trade unionist, family man, author. So let's start out where you didn't expect us to be. You lived in New York for a while.
I went to university in New York, and I completed my university after 5 years. Driving cab, studying, going evening school full-time sometimes, and finally graduated.
And which university was this?
I went to New York University first for 2 years in their pre-med class, hoping that I'd become a dentist.
Yes.
But I was faced with some terrible things called compound maths and compound physics and compound chemistry. I could only read, and I had a very good foreign student advisor who said my answering in class on my questions, said I should do social science.
Social sciences, okay. So what did you do? You switched to where and did what?
Yes, I went from New York University to the City University, the City College of New York.
Okay.
And I did government with some political science then and economics, but it's really government.
You came home to Jamaica what year?
1965, I came home on a Sunday evening and went to work Monday morning.
Where?
At the BITU. I came home on the invitation of Hugh Shearer. Shearer she was a foreign minister, and I was the president of the West Indian Students Association in New York. So we used to accommodate him, give him little pips. He used to tell us what's happening at home, and we bring him up to date. So I get to know Shearer, and he said, "Look, when you finish, come and work with me."
Oh, very nice. Oh, when you had a home.
Oh yes, yes.
Question. You talk about your Rockstone laborite. So from you were in New York, you were a Rockstone laborite. Were you born a laborite? Your mother and father? What got you into this Rockstone business?
Well, it's very interesting you asked me that. My father was a local laborite for Abutnut Gallimore. My mother has never
Gallimore's father.
had no father. My mother has never discussed politics. It's a few years ago in a family discussion, I recall seeing my mother with a lime and her finger rubbing, and I said she must have voted.
Yes.
So I would say my mother voted, but she has never discussed politics. Either side, she accommodated everybody and said, you can go and do your thing. She has never been in the Harlan pool of PNP and JLP, but my father was. And
did he seek office, or did he become?
No, a local man.
Okay.
Agricultural Society president. But back to New York, I was a part of the new then revolution. Moving from the Bustamante, Williams.
Yes.
Yeah, that group.
Yes, of Caribbean people.
Yes, and then we used to tell them how to get the British government out of the Caribbean.
Yes.
And I remember leading a delegation to Sir Alexander Bustamante and made a good presentation. I said, tell him how to become independent and get rid of this.
So this was before 1962?
This was before 62.
Okay.
And I remember Buster said, Lady B, who is talking? And I said, Pearnel Charles, Jamaican, yes. All right, son. I think Lady B will send you guys out on a trip to the North Coast. When you graduate, you can come back and help us do what you're saying should be done. But it was a wonderful time, as I said. It was more a share association.
Yes.
Because our West Indian Student Association was much more revolutionary than you guys in the Caribbean,
Oh, yeah.
We used to have meetings with the Trevor Monroes and the Errol Andersons and some of the guys from the other islands would come up to the student organization. So
help me now. I brought you back home 65, 3 years after you told him what to do to get rid of the British people. We still have them. But you joined the BITU as what?
I joined the BIT as an officer, and Hugh Shearer told me about this young man in the West called Edward Siaga.
Yes.
And he thought I should meet him. The things we were saying, some of the things he was doing. I went to meet Siaga at Tivoli. And I had this long discussion with him. He outlined what he would like to see Jamaica. And I said, but I think you're reading from my book. Although I didn't write any book at that time.
As yet, because you have written
And he
books.
said, would I come and join him? I said, certainly. So Errol Landis and myself, Errol was
Yes, I
one
know.
of the officers,
Yes, the Herald of Blessed Memory.
accepted that we would join him. So he took me to the Labour Party, signed me up as a member of the Labour Party. And next week he asked me to run as a councillor in Denham Town.
Ah.
And I got nominated a few weeks after. Went back to the BITU and got a nice letter from Sir Alexander Bustamante. You're fired.
You're
You
fired.
you were brought here as a trade unionist, not as a politician. So I said, what does this mean? And Ms. Nelson told me that you're no longer here. I said, I thought that once you're in the BIT, you're in the JLP. Said, no, not this way. So I went to see Lady Bustamante, and she spoke to Errol and myself and said, you should have spoken to the chief before you did it. So I said, but lady, I mean, I want to be like the chief. I want to come in the union, go in the party, and work for the people of Jamaica. So she went inside and I said, Chief, Pearnel say he want to be like me. Nobody can be like Bustamante. Can't be like me. But all right, send her back to work. And he gave us back. He took back the letter and sent Errol and myself back to work.
So there was an immediate trade union inquiry into your dismissal.
I think he was the Ministry of Labour, the Industrial Tribunal,
right.
and found us not guilty, ambitious-wise.
Ambitious-wise.
Our ambition then, and he sent us back to work.
So you made your way through the BITU as an officer. What are some of the major industrial actions
before we
and
go there,
relations? Yeah.
from the BITU, from becoming a member of the Jamaica Labour Party, I followed Siaga, who was then General Secretary. He made me Deputy General Secretary of the Jamaica Labour Party.
Oh,
under him.
okay, yes.
And I became a councillor
In Denham Town.
in Denham Town, in
That's
his
right.
constituency. And then we can take it from there after that. But back at the BITU as an officer, I became an area supervisor, and at the end I was vice president at BITU.
Yes, that's what I recall.
So, and with all the struggles in between those things.
Yes. BITU, NWU, they spawned the political parties.
Yes.
And thus you understood the relation. If you're BITU, you JLP. If you're NWU, you PNP.
Yeah.
But what were some of the... And it was a competitive trade union environment.
It's interesting that you say that. Trevor Monroe had established a union,
UAW.
which is still AW. And so it was sort of Trevor coming in. But Michael Mandy was in charge of the bauxite industry.
Right.
And I asked, how is that possible? We're in power, and he's in charge of the bauxite industry. So Shearer said, well, what do you mean? Go and check out. So I went to Alpart and challenged him. And you know the story.
Yes.
Right?
Tell them the story.
Do I tell you the story?
Yes, please.
But my first confrontation was with Michael Manley at Alpart. I remember meeting some guys who said, how did I get here? I said, I drove. They say, you won't get a chance to drive out. And I recall that I said to myself, well, these guys seem to be serious. And I do a bolt.
Yes.
I took off.
Yes.
And I heard one say, shoot him. And the other one said, why you don't shoot him? And my car was coming around. And next thing I found myself in one of the pits. 22 feet down. I measure afterward. I
In the car?
in the mining pit.
Yes, but you
But-
weren't in the car, in the mining.
No man, I was
Okay.
the car was coming out. I was out the car, you know.
Oh.
And then-
Oh, you took evasive action.
Yes.
Okay.
The guy said to me, I said to myself, how do I get in this pit? I was either pushed or frightened enough to jump. But I know that I was smart enough not to go headway or go straightway, but to lie against the side so you'd slide down.
Yes.
You get a few bruises, but
Yes.
and I ran out the pit, the road that the tractors would have been what they're digging.
Yes.
And I heard my guy calling, "Come, Pearnel, come." And this guy was a good driver. He was driving, it was a Buick left hand, and we opened the door. And I know I scaled off the bank into the car. And,
Like some serious movies.
oh,
You could have
a survival time.
survived.
So that was one. I think that was the first rough part of it. But there were some rough times at Alpart. When I went back, the guy said, "Well, hold on, you came back? You're back?" I said, "Yes, man, I'm going to be here." And Michael Manley had a meeting about a half a mile away. And listen to what he said. He told the guys, the work is slowing down. It's going to be difficult for you guys to get a job here unless you get rid of Pearnel Charles from here. No, he never told them to come and kill me. He never told them how to get rid of me. They concluded that it was an easier way to get me
Both of them.
out of everywhere. I saw Michael and Carlisle Dunkley and a few other guys winding over coming in front of about 300 guys. And there were three of us. And the organizing date. It's in the book. And I saw a police jeep swung around and come in front. And I said, well, this is another
Confrontation.
survival.
Yes,
No,
yes.
survival
Yes.
arrival.
Yes.
So I ran into the jeep. And the policeman said to me, a police jeep is in of us. Come out. And I saw the angry guys coming. Well, I got out. But I leaned against the jeep. Michael and the crowd came up. And the guy looked at me and said, the time I had on one of these American dark glass, you know.
Yes.
And he said to Michael, him have a gun. And I heard Michael ask, who have a gun? Now he heard what the guy saying.
Yes.
And the guy showed him with a right hand in this eye. I had only this hand leave. Everything went. I thought another survivor, so I had to shoot him.
Oh, you did have a gun.
Oh yeah, of course I had a gun. All right, I fire a shot. I look at Michael Mann, I say, you caused this. You caused this. Just like this. I thought he would have run. He looked at me and said, you damn fool, I'm here to save you. I run.
And we are going to run and take a break. We'll be back with Pearnel Charles, the survivor. Welcome back to Inside Pearnel Charles, the survivor, the politician, the family man, the author, you name it, we have it. Currently the Speaker of the House. Going through your trade union days, you and Michael Manley were from different unions, there was a political divide. You would have been in the hustings. H.L. Shearer, blessed memory, our good friend, would have been there, part of the divide, but yet there was this uncanny thing between H.L. Shearer and Michael Manley. They were in the hustings, but they were friends. You got the sense as if they were so close.
It came out in my situation. Yes. Because, as I told you, I ran. and leave Manley standing in the crowd run, and Manley was the only one with the police there. I was arrested. I was tried for about 10 or so charges: shooting with intent, firing a shot in the middle of the road, having a gun in that sort of environment, all sort of things. I think I can tell you now, you may enjoy this. At the trial, no, Shearer said, get yourself any attorney you want at my expense. And I decided that Frank Phipps and Wilton Hill, QCs, were the best in the country.
Yes.
And I remember Phipps saying to me, I don't think we are the best lawyers for you. But I say, you're the best in the country. I said, but we're not the best in the country, but not the best for you. And he sent me to St. Elizabeth, to a young lawyer. He made his name slip me. However, they put together a trial, and there were 11 members of the jury. While the trial was going on, the director of public prosecution, who left Kingston to come to the country to prosecute, wouldn't allow her. And he said something to Michael, and Michael jokingly said he has never seen a man take a shot like that in the face and stand up, and the courthouse laugh out.
So Michael Manley was there?
Manley was chief witness. And the judge said, adjourn for lunch. And while the jury was going out, two elderly women, one look at me and say, him a laugh after you? The case was starting up. You're not guilty of damn. And the police said, what did she say to you? I said, you're speaking to me? Yes. I said, don't you know you cannot speak to a prisoner? And he went away. Well, why would he be coming to ask a prisoner?
Yes, what did she say?
And he knows I'm not supposed to speak.
Yes.
I must confess that I think Michael, after the uproar, wanted to see me free.
Yes.
I must tell you the truth. Because I know he and Sherry discussed it. And,
yes.
Yeah, they took a look at it. So I was freed. I remember the DPP, I won't call his name now, said when the jury came out and judge asked, how do you find it? He said, not guilty on all of them. So judge said, oh, no, not like that. No. I said,
but you were 10 codes.
I did know. I said, one by one.
Yes.
Number one, not guilty. Number two, not guilty. Number three, not guilty. Number four, not guilty. Number five, not guilty. I not guilty of the other one either.
They were adamant.
And the court burst out, and the DPP got up and said, political decision. And the judge said, Mr. Charles, you may go. DPP see me in my office. I run from the courthouse.
You're running.
I run to the car.
Did another bolt.
I didn't want to know what the judge
Question. The man who was shot, did he die?
No. And you know who saved him? Mavis Gilmore. Dr. Mavis Gilmore.
Former Minister of Education as well.
And I was with Mavis Gilmore at Siaga's funeral.
Yes.
She's 92.
Yes, I saw her.
A fabulous friend of mine, and she took the bullet out of him, and he was saved. And I will chat afterward, you know.
Yes. That's how it is. You and Michael Manley also became friends out of respect for each other. How do you come loggerheads and then, because you have another gang of five thing for to come friend again, you know.
Well,
but let's deal with the Michael Manley thing, as trade unionist.
You want to hear the Michael story?
Yes. How you all become friends and became chummy?
I think I'm one of the only one who defeated Michael Manley on a poll at Alcoa.
That's representational polls, yes.
Representational poll at Alcoa. I represent the BITU. Now, when you have 300 workers on a voters list, you must get 50%
Has to be represented.
of those who vote.
Vote, yes.
Well, I looked the evening and I see that the sun was going down and only so many people, and I know I was ahead.
Yes.
And I called Michael, I said, Michael, sun is going, you know. Don't they say you're Joshua? Tell the sun to stay there. Stand still, because every time I'm not come. Well, next morning, the BITU was ahead. To show you Michael, and this is a real Michael Manley.
Yes.
He knows the rule. But because 50% of the 300 did not vote,
Yes.
he said, we're going to court.
Mm.
Right? Not 50% of who voted,
yes.
but 50% of the list.
Potential voters.
No,
yes.
he knows that it's 50% of who voted. And we go in court for a while until it cooled down and the people them said, Michael, all right.
Yes.
Now, it went on to the fact that some people feel that when I was detained years after, it's taken out of me.
Oh, okay.
But I give you the conclusion of Michael. I was embarrassed that I was so attracted to Michael Manley. Michael spoke the language that I spoke and would love to be able to speak.
Like, okay. Okay.
I went to Westmoreland with Michael Manley, and I know his Edna's son and Norman's child.
Yes.
So there is 10-15% of that
Yes.
above all of us.
Yes.
And Michael, we expected him to go to the high restaurant.
Yes.
I said, anybody having a sardine? Yeah, man. Can I buy a bread?
Yes.
Right in the cane field.
Yes.
Bust the sardine and the bread. I said, that guy there, man. That
Different.
Guy, that guy is a serious guy. And that was really Michael. When I was detained, and then I became minister, and he was sick. Hugh Shearer called me one day and said, Minister, I want to talk to you. I'm coming to see you. I said, look, you're a deputy prime minister, you can come and see me. I'm coming to see him. He said, no, you stay at your office, I'm coming. I said, no, I'm coming. So I went to his office. He said, well, I don't want to see you again. I wanted to ask you something, but I changed my mind. I said, Mr. Shearer, come on. And he said, Michael is very sick. What makes him worse is that he has a flower garden, a flower thing somewhere in the Blue Mountain, and they were dying. He has no water. I said, then you couldn't just tell me that on telephone? So I called Cecil Charlton,
Yes.
who was
That's a
chairman
memory.
of the Water
Yes.
Commission.
From Mandeville.
From Mandeville, my chairman,
Yes.
chairman of the board.
Yes.
I said, Cecil, I want you to send 2 trucks with water up to Michael's farm for me. He said, Minister, hold on a minute. Let me go in my office and have a seat, because I don't think I hear you. And so he said, I'm sitting, no. What did you say? I said, I want you to send 2 trucks with water up to Mr. Manley's field once a week. And he said a little word which is not broadcast.
Yes.
He said, Minister, since you say so, may I have to do it. I said, go look further. They must be signed for, and they must send a copy to me. And I carry my copy to Hugh Shearer. And I'm sure Shearer give it to
Yes.
him. Now, that was after detention, right?
Yes.
Michael became sick now, very sick.
Yes. They're
And
verticalized.
I don't know if you know one of his best friends. I forgot what was his name, but he died now too.
Mm-hmm.
He came to see me and he said, look, Michael is very sick. He knows how you think about him. Would you go and look for him? I said, sure. Well, no? I said, yes. I got up. I went to his home.
Mm-hmm.
And there was Michael, and he said, Pearnel, you really come? I said, yes, ma'am. And we sat for about an hour or two. Fledge, what was his name? You know the guy.
Yes.
He said to me, I said, Michael, tell me the truth. Why you put me in prison? And he said to me, I can take you to Jamaica House right now. And I can show you my desk where I was as Prime Minister, and 2 seats, one the Commissioner sat, and the Major General. You know, his voice never went.
Yes, yes, yes.
He said, Pearnel, they came to me and they said, if we are not permitted to detain Pearnel Charles, we will not go back on the road in 2 days. He said to me, if you were Prime Minister and you were faced with that, what would you do? I said, I would lock you up. And we laughed, shook hands, and I must tell you the truth, I became a friend of Michael Manley for the last 4 or 5 months that he lived. I called him, he called me, his voice was strong to the last time we spoke, maybe a week before he died.
Yes.
You could not know he was sick.
Yes, 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 yes.
And I'll tell you now that Mr. Siaga is not here, I had a problem choosing between Siaga and Michael Manley when for that revolutionary spirit that both of them had.
Yes, 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 yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? And I wouldn't say it let Eddie here because Eddie make me what I am.
That's right. That's
Right?
right. That's right.
What I am today started with him, and he has gone leave me where I am, Siaga. I don't know what I would be otherwise, but I know what I am because I met him. So I was very careful, but I was always attracted to Michael.
Yes. I think they called it a bromance.
Yes.
Brothers.
And I'm sure
respecting brothers.
I'm sure he went with knowing that we were
Bury
friends
the
again.
hatchet, as they say.
We didn't have that malice. And Cheryl's saying, forget it. You're a leader, you got to have some rough spots.
Yes.
So Cher helped me to get over it.
Yes,
But
yes.
as I say, I was always attracted to it.
I'm going to take a break because the spirit of forgiveness is deeply in his heart. Okay, there's one I'm going to ask him about, but when we return on Insight. Welcome back to Insight. Pearnel Charles, our special guest. And rounding off the trade union part of your life, let's look at what's happening today, Pearnel Charles. Workers, contract workers, the proliferation, the things that you fought for workers. Where do you see the trade union movement these days? Have they failed us? Have they failed us?
No, I tell you what has happened. The trade union is not what has failed us, because the workers have moved from where they were to where they are today. So you cannot look at them without looking at from where they were coming to where they are. So don't not say it has failed, because they have not failed. Now, we have not moved from where they are now to where we think we should be. Are you following me?
Yes.
Now, you said contract workers. There are 2 things you have to look at. If there were no contract workers, how many workers would be out of job? I am a part of the contract workers plan. What is wrong is that we have not followed up with giving the contract workers much of what they deserve as workers. In other words, we have it that if you work 22 days, you get 1 day vacation, right? Why not for the contract worker? If you work 22 days, you have X to pay for your after work life. Why not contract workers? Now, all those things can be negotiated with the contract worker being a worker and compile his time weeks and months that he pays his dues, get his NIS, get his vacation like other workers. That's where the blank spot is. Because you could not expect Mr. Butch Stewart to employ a worker just for breakfast in the morning for 2 hours and tell him to sit down for 5 hours in the morning just for dinner.
Yes.
So he said, look, I have a contract for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. But those 4 hours is half a day. And that worker will finally have a full day. So it could be negotiated and should be negotiated that the worker gets a full what you and I get, so that they can have their pension in place, or the NIS, whatever you want to call it, so that you don't have a man work as a contract worker for years, told not to come back and has nothing.
Yes.
I said, should be negotiated. Because as I said, if you remove the contract workers, then you're going to probably put a lot of people out of jobs.
I'm going to ask you to wear another hat. And before I touch the other hat, I have to touch your hair.
Yes.
Half and half. Where'd that come from?
It's not half. You can't measure right.
3/4. The decision to go black and white. When did you make it? Why did you make it? And you continue.
No. This is it was natural. It went natural. That's what it
Yes.
is. And I just say, I look at that person in the mirror and say, look, that's something that should stay there.
And you enhance it. So
Yes.
it's not a...
I work it.
You work it.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on, because it's not a hair contest.
yes.
I thought the measure of the man was seen during the Gang of 5 Days, when certain members of the party fell out of grace with Mr. Siaga in particular. And for those who want to know, you can go look it up. But the program is too short to go through all of that. But it was a time that people would either judge you as a man without cojones, that you, why never just tell a man for go on, that you have family at your yard and you're a big man too. But I think the term you use when they were trying to get rid of you is that you tried to stay in the marriage. You went to court to stay in the union. Just go back and give me that feeling. As much as you were detained, your spirit and your life at that time was seen by Jamaicans as what is manner of man is this? Because you got the lick, bigger lick to me than everybody else. You know. You had to be fighting to stay in the party. Others said them gone.
Well, it's a question of your strength. See, I'm a country boy. I was born in the Dry Harbor Mountain, a little district called Macedonia.
Parish.
In St. Anne. No spring, no river, no electricity, no paved roads, there was about 2 people with fridge. It was kerosene oil. Barefoot to school for my first 19 years. I went to high school at age 19 when you guys graduate and gone. Only West Indian Training College would have saved me, because our grandmother, her daughter, and our granddaughter was in my class. Mm-hmm. So there was no age limit to go to that school. So fast forward. It's difficult for you to work with me because you can't hold me down. It's not possible for you to discourage me to leave my job. It's not possible for you to hold me down unless you don't sleep, don't eat, don't have any other things. Anything you do, you hold me, I get up, leave you, and go on about my business. And I have that, I tell you. So we had a disagreement with Edward Siaga. But we still love him, and we still know that it is Siaga who made me what I am. And I never disrespect him. But I told him in straight, strong words, Eddie, I think you're wrong. Now, after the election in which we lost, and this is what made the Gang of 5, it was interesting to know. Douglas Vaz, Samuda, Erlandis, and myself, Bartlett, were in a meeting with Eddie. And we decided, so look here, we have to do an analysis as to why we have lost this election. Which one was that? 93?
Yes, somewhere around there. Yes. Because you should not have lost that.
We should not have lost that
So the
election.
things were,
Right?
no, we should not.
And he said, all right, go on and find out. We came back within 10 days. He said, what, you know, finish already? I said, yes. All of us found that he was the cause. And I thought that Errol, which was his best friend,
Yes.
made his first presentation. And I don't know who made, but could be Dougie made the second one. But after 3 presentations, I said, hold on, it's me, you know, go try. Oh, no, gang up on me. And I think he left the room.
Yes.
It is Carl Stone who got the story
Yes.
and made us a gang of 5
5.
in his first presentation.
Yes.
I thought the story history has taken over from there.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, I don't believe, and it has shown, that none of us have disrespected Seaga. In other words, I've never come up and looked at him and say, you are not one of us, you are this. I have said nobody around has decided to move from uptown, move from a seat that he could have had, come downtown where we are running from,
Yes, and really.
and settle down, sleep there,
Yes.
clean it up, build a garden, put our people in it. That man, maybe not my generation, maybe not yours, several generations from now, look back. And just as a sideline, I listened to P.J. Patterson. He lifted several 100 feet higher in his evaluation of Seaga when I listened to him. Now, if that evaluation is put before a bipartisan committee or a group of people, generations from now, there's no way that any of those who are wearing national heroes or anything could match Seaga.
Yeah. So you're saying that generations now we could very well be a national hero.
Well, because if you look at Seaga now for national hero, we are going to say you have to look at Michael Manley.
That's correct.
You're going to look at several people.
And you're going to have to look at 1980.
So I am saying, just like how this generation look at Sharp,
Washington,
Manley, well, not so much Manley because Manley and Buster
Buster.
is kind of natural, but the other guys down the line,
Yes.
right?
Marcos.
As somebody was saying, I said, what did the man from St. Thomas did?
You mean Bogle?
Google. How many people, was anybody died in his thing? Did he have a gang? Did he?
What about Bob Marley?
Well, Bob has presented a world, and we have to decide that there's somewhere in the world for music, and the message in Bob's music is important.
And the financing that he still gets from the grave.
Well, you could say about our friend in prison too, he's still making more money.
I don't know which one that.
The one,
No, man, come on. It's a serious conversation. It's a serious
making money.
conversation.
Plenty money.
But it's a serious conversation. We're talking about Bob Marley now.
yeah, Bob, as I said, Bob's message is very important. But I would put it also before the people. I even put Miss Lou. I'll put it before the generation that are going to do what we did for those guys. And as I tell you, a point was made. There's hardly any laws that has come on the books since independence that Seaga did not participate in.
North Central Clarendon.
Yes,
You know it.
yes.
You're going to be leaving it. You're not going to run again. That's the message out there.
That's the message out there. You want to offer my message.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
What's your, will you be running again in Clarendon North Central?
Now, not that I'm hesitating, I have to explain to you. You never know. Suppose the election is called next week,
Yes. But would you
and the
run
Prime
again?
Minister says you have to run. No, the arrangement is that I think I have completed my underground participation in Parliament. Right? I was twice elected as councillor, twice selected in the Senate, that's 4, 3 times in St. Thomas elected, and 4 times in Clarendon, right? And in those two, I lost 2 elections, one in St. Thomas and one in Clarendon. So I think I have done well. When I started, you were a little boy at our chair, and I used to call you. And you're being a big guy now. You even have 2 hair, gray
right.
beard and black hair.
Gray and gray. Yes. But in the scheme of things, in the natural order of things, you would take away yourself from representational politics.
Yes. I think that this young man, Andrew Hornish, has brought something to many of us. He has brought to me. There is a generation change. There is something that we have to look at, that the young generation has come with a difference. And I, as one of those who would like to assist them with my experience, and they would have to put their energy to it. So I say energy and experience is what this new generation has. And don't underrate it, Andrew, don't underrate it. It is a natural, it's a new generation. It has something that we'd have to admit we didn't have, right? I wrote a line that corruption and crime will destroy any government. And don't care who's coming there now with the rest of the generation that is here now, you have to fight them to preserve what you believe in. And so some of that is going to hit Andrew. But let me tell you, I fought for him, you know that.
Yes.
I put my neck and head out there for him because I had a vision that the generation that I came up, time has come for them to give their experience to those who have the energy. That's why, for example, my son.
I'm going to get to your son. I'll get after right after this break because you don't think I know what's going on down there. We'll be right back on Insight. Welcome back to Insight. Pearnel Charles giving us some insight into what happened eons ago and what is likely to happen in years to come. And we left him when we were talking about North Central Clarendon. He's a senior, there's a junior. He has not stopped from getting into politics, so must be something good about it, right? When you your son, your bright son, you want him to come through and follow your stead. But he and Mr. Morgan would like to see him seat. You can declare bias, sir, as your son. And that's fine, and that would be expected.
No, but I'm not doing that.
You're not doing that?
No.
Why not, sir?
No, let me tell you, I have a lot of respect for young Morgan, and I would love to see Morgan get a seat. And I have pledged that I will work with him in any seat he gets. I'd like to see my son get a seat too. And I think because my son has been there with me for some 6 or so years, that naturally I would like to see him get the seat. However, if the population of North Central, the voter population, express a preference for Morgan, Morgan will have my support. Okay? My son, both of them are senators. My son is a minister, full minister, in this term, thanks to the Prime Minister. And I said to him, if the people in a poll or an election delegates
yes. Mm-hmm.
say that we would prefer Morgan, I pledge that I would work with him because it's bigger than Pearnel and Morgan for me.
Yes.
Right? So I don't want anybody to get the impression that I am against Morgan. You know that's natural. Every shoemaker would want his son to learn to make shoes.
That's correct.
And so there's a natural that I would love to see my son follow up in some of the things that I have done. However, if the people want somebody else to carry the follower, then there are many other seats.
Yes.
There's 63 seats.
Well, you know, in the scheme of things, yes.
In the scheme of things, that,
Yes.
you know, one will come up. But at present, I think that the decision is that the people should decide on which of the two. And
When would that happen? How would that happen? What is the mechanism?
I don't want to give you the agenda, but I will tell you that it should be settled easily, because the Prime Minister has expressed some concern and has given some ideas.
I know. We should
And
settle.
I will tell you the secret, since nobody else is watching, that I think he'll be very happy to have both of them in his government.
Okay, so in other words,
And
you
so-
find something. Is your seat a safe seat? You have to work hard for it.
Well, let me tell you something, and I want you to record this.
Yes.
There's no safe seat in Jamaica.
Really?
The seat that I am in now, I won it from the PNP after losing it. The PNP won that seat, I think, by 1,500. And Mr. Lynn
Yes.
was PNP.
Got
I
it.
went and challenged him, and he beat me by 600 and something. And I challenged him. I didn't even come home the night. I challenged him,
Yes.
right? Stayed there and won the seat. So it's not a JLP seat I have.
Okay.
I have a seat that was twice in the hand of the PNP, and I took it away, and I've won it 4 times.
Yes.
And I can assure you, it doesn't matter who want to come or what want to come. What I have done in that constituency, if the people recognize it,
Yes.
right? No member of parliament, if you give me 10 seconds, has done in that constituency more than I have done.
Okay.
Road-wise, millions. I heard they drove from South Upturn up to Clarendon College, and you can now drive from Cocoa Peace to Mount Providence
Wherever that
to
is.
Alexandria, and
So-
roads better than what you have in Kingston.
Well, that's
Better than what you have in Kingston.
Yes,
I
yes.
challenge you on that.
all right.
And there are 2 water projects going on there now. One going to Rock River, one to Moko, that has never been done from the beginning.
Yes.
So I would like to put these things in the hand of some
People
young
who will
guys
take care of it.
who can take care of
You
it.
come back to and that's exactly the theme of going on. You said, let's match experience with youth, and that type of connection
Yes,
will
yes.
make you a winner. You have some other colleagues of yours who have been around for a while, and you get the impression they intend to go on and on till them son them.
Well, don't criticize that.
Not doing it
If
at all.
if a formula that I am saying works, you would need to have some of the Mike Henrys and the Samudas with the experience that they have working with the Pearnel Charles and the Morgans and the Andrews that don't do that, because I saw Siaga do it and it never worked.
Yes.
Or I saw Buster do it and it never worked. Right? But the energy that they have, we must encourage that, and they must be guided by the wisdom, right,
Yes.
that we can give to them.
Speak
So
of energy. You
I
speak
believe
of-
that there must be a working relationship.
You speak
I
of-
would not support wiping out all these guys and bring something to start all over.
Yes. You speak of energy. One time you usually play tennis a lot. I usually see you up at Pegasus. You can't move anymore with that? You play it slower now, but do you still play? Well, what's going on? How do you keep yourself healthy?
No, let me tell you something. I, in 1980, got a tennis racket and a tennis ball from Ed Bartlett for my birthday,
Yes.
and I have never stopped playing. This morning it wasn't such a good game, but last week it was good. I wake up 5 o'clock, I have breakfast 5:30, first breakfast. I'm on the court from 6 to 7:15, 7:30, every morning except Sabbath and Sunday.
Yes.
5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, all the years since 1980.
So who's your favorite tennis player, male, female?
Male.
Male, who is your favorite tennis player
Who's
in the world? famous.
In the world?
Yes.
Nadal is my man.
Nadal is your
Yeah,
people.
I just like Nadal wiping his nose every time. No, I like him style, you know. I like him
Yes,
style.
yes. Female.
Well, I'm not a racist, but
But you're a Williams.
I like her, and I think she get a little upset now and again. But believe me, it works.
Yes, yes.
You know,
Amazing
it's
story
part
that
of it.
William's father, he brought them. You saw them from they were young when they came to
And
this.
it's very interesting, very interesting. Maybe can I give you a quick one
Yes, yes.
about Pearnel? You know, I have a son who is a doctor,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
He's a neurosurgeon,
Ah, that's the man.
specializing in brain and spine.
Yes,
And Pearnel, who is an attorney,
yes.
and I dressed them as firemen and police, and they were
Yes, growing up.
with
Everybody.
the guns and running
yeah,
around.
yeah,
And my wife called them and said, "Look, let's take those things off." They start to cry. They like the fire thing.
yeah.
And
Uniforms, kids.
And she said she have something upstairs for them. She dressed them as doctors. Put the thing around them neck, what do you call it?
Stethoscope.
Stethoscope. So we were going to look for Grandpa. Pearnel has his stethoscope and his hammer. Said, "Doc, say, Grandpa, I come to check you up."
Yes.
Put Grandpa to lie down on the bed, man. And I think he must have probably about 9 or 10. And someone him said, "Grandpa, your heart sound good, pressure sound good, stress out, I have to test your knees." And he gave Grandpa one lick. I hear Grandpa, "Lord, God, the boy broke my foot." And he said, "Grandpa, you're very good, very good."
So, self-fulfilling prophecies. You train them the way they should go.
What's that?
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
Train them in the way they should go. Put on the...
Well, I tell you, credit that, and it is honest. I think I met the right woman who would really train the children right. We have 4 daughters and 3 sons. You know, I have a son abroad. You know, Kayla McCoy is my granddaughter.
Yes, the footballer.
I'm sorry that she
Didn't make
injured
it.
her knee.
She should need to come back to Pearnel to look at her knee.
Yeah, well, she's coming.
Yes, yes.
But my wife, Gloria, has trained them well. 3 of the 4 girls are doctors, and one is a businesswoman. And it's all hers.
Yes.
As I say, I am the financial contributor.
Yes, yes. You're the banker.
And she is everything else
Yes,
to
yes,
them. And
yes.
she, in honesty, no joke, she has full responsibility
And
for training the children. If they're out of line, she would say, "Your father comes home at 9 and I will speak to him." And that
you know,
will straighten them
your
up.
image was right.
Yeah, they'll do it
Well,
right.
but his accolades to you that your son would want to follow in your footstep, that he would have seen the benefit and the brand, Pearnel Charles, out there, although he was also named so. Poor fellow, if you didn't go right, he would have been stuck with a name. But it's to your credit, and therefore the question is to you, Pearnel Charles. We all have to face our mortality.
That was?
Face our mortality. We saw
Yes,
Mr.
yes.
Siaga
Yes.
going down, your good friend HL, Michael Manley, and
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. How best would you want the world, Jamaicans, North Central, to remember you? Describe yourself.
All right.
If you were to read your own eulogy.
Pearnel was not the first who make a presentation to serve the people politically. Patrice was in St. Thomas, and Michelle is now preparing to take that position that I had in St. Thomas. And Pearnel is preparing to go to North Central. So I see my family, and Michelle is a doctor, Pearnel is an attorney, and they could do much better in their profession. They have decided to follow that. And I hope to bring Patrice back on board, because Patrice is a psychologist and she's a doctor of public health, and she can really help. The fact is that I would love to see my family give back to Jamaica what Jamaica has given to me to help them. If it were not for St. Thomas and North Central Clarendon, and put it, the Seaga, the Share, the Buster, the colleagues who make me what I am, they could not be what they are today. And I think it all boils down to give back to the people of Jamaica what they have given to you. So I hope that they carry on serving the people. I have 16 grandchildren, and I've done an evaluation on them. We have 9 doctors in there. We have 2 politicians, so it's going to be for a while. My great-grandmother died at 105. That's my mother's great-grandmother. And my father said that one died at 103. My mother died 103 months. So I think I'm going to be here for
I'm going to break into something. I'm tired for seeing my face.
No, I think I may be here for a while.
But aside from that, if somebody were to ask you to put in a sentence, and we don't have much more longer than that, what is Pearnel Charles like? Describe him in a sentence or two. Who is Pearnel Charles?
Well, you know, I'm writing a book.
Another book.
I have
another book.
I have
top of your 4 here.
4 books
yes.
that I have done, and I'm writing one. I'm going to ask Laura to help me, to tell me who is this Pearnel Charles. 'Cause I don't think I really know him as much as I would want to. Okay? I hate poverty.
You hate poverty?
Yeah.
You want to kick it in the teeth?
More than that. But I also hate you who allow yourself to live in poverty when you could do otherwise. If I had chosen to stay at Macedonia, playing seed in the bag or smoking ganja on the tree, with my underpant above my pant, although it named underpant to stay underpant, right? It would be my fault. And so, who am I? I want every poor boy to know he can be rich, not only in money, but in his presentation, in his wishes, what he wants to do for the country, what he wants to do for the people. He has to sleep less. He has to be respectful. He has to study. I have never slept 8 hours voluntarily, one time.
Yes.
I think it's a waste of time. I'm 83, 2 months time. And so don't tell me that I'm going to die because I don't sleep.
Lack of sleep.
I tell you, right, that Seaga has never, I don't think Seaga has ever worked less than 16 hours every day.
Yes.
Right? So I think if there are 24 hours in the day, you work 8 hours, what do you do with the other 16? That is where your riches are. That is where your development is, in those 16 hours. That's what I wrote both books that time. What other thing
you
I had to
have
say?
Jamaica and the People's Struggle for Survival, The Politics of Power, Pearnel Charles, A Cry from the Grassroots, and Detained. Pearnel Charles, does the country owe you an apology for detaining you? I heard a senator saying that persons...
Following the footsteps of others, you know, it really doesn't bother me. But the Attorney General has on her desk a plea from the public defender that having spent almost a year in prison, and just hot prison where you don't want to wear anything but underpants, because anything else scorch you. And we had some lovely visitors in the night.
Called chinks.
Oh,
Yes.
they come in black bundles.
Yes.
And you know where to bite.
Oh, Lord, yes. They prefer that spot.
All right. So I think that following what the country recognized, that having allowed me to lose my freedom for almost a year. And in that period, my wife and daughter almost died. Because my wife was working 3 jobs in New York and crashed. And I got a telegram that she was 50-50.
Okay.
And
I'm going to force you. Do we owe you an apology?
I am not particularly interested. I think you need to give some money that I make a contribution to carrying on the job that I want to see.
Pearnel Charles. I did
You
not
know what?
Yeah.
Could I take it to you?
Quickly for it.
There was a man standing with me, and he says, "See that man come up and have a big contour." I went, "Step on it." And the man comes, step on the man contour, and the man crying and say, "Oh, I apologize. I'm so sorry." And from that I said, "Don't apologize."
Intentional. Pearnel Charles, the Speaker of the House, and we could go on and on and on with this. There's about other dimensions, but perhaps we'll have to do it another time soon. Michael Sharp, wishing you all pleasant viewing.